Okay, we're back with the Environmental Control Board. We are going to hear from our agency representative who will be providing a presentation at this time, whenever you're ready.
All right. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Vice President Middleton, and members of the committee. Good afternoon, I'm Brittany Vendries. I'm the Executive Director of the Environmental Control Board. And let's move it forward. Oh, I was warned. There we go, all right. So the Environmental Control Board has one main service, which is adjudicating environmental citations. Due to this, our primary function is to provide a hearing process for people to contest environmental citations. These hearings are modeled after the district court, but are ultimately informal proceedings that are presided over by an attorney that's barred in the state of Maryland. In addition to the hearing process, the ECB also educates residents on city code requirements, provides support and resources for local communities, and distributes grants for cleaning and greening projects. All of those things are done under the Be More Beautiful program. Between our work through Be More Beautiful and the adjudication process, our hope is to assist in changing behavior related to quality of life and public safety issues. For FY2026, we have two main goals. The first is to flesh out our staff so that we can better support our initiatives. We plan to hire a paralegal who will primarily focus on the collections effort, and we plan to create another liaison position which will focus on greening workshops, urban farming, and volunteerism. The second goal is to focus on the agency's document management policies and procedures. Over the years, we have moved hearing files to digital formats, which saves space and cuts down on paper. However, we still have years worth of paper files that need to be addressed and retention schedules that should be updated to include our current digital process. We'll go to the next slide. All right, with regard to performance measures, the two I wanted to highlight are on the screen. First, we offer an annual tax sale review process, which is where we review any citations that are on a final bill and legal notice for general validity. We tell people that it can take 2 weeks at minimum for the review to be completed, which is why the performance target is usually 14 days. The actual for last fiscal year was fairly low, which is why I reduced the FY26 target down to 13 days. This year was a higher volume year, but I do anticipate that we'll be within that 13-day mark. In addition to the tax sale, the other target is based on whether we can get a hearing scheduled within 60 days of receiving the request. The 90% performance target is an ambitious target, but we've been able to meet the 90% in the past. I've kept the target at 90 because there are quite a few factors at play that can cause fluctuation from year to year. For example, our biggest impact this fiscal year has been an increase in the vacant building notice citations. And the scheduled position was in fact vacant, but we did fill it actually last month or 2 months ago. And we actually filled our OSS position today, or she started today, I should say. But that's about it. Please let me know if you have any questions.
I have one quick question. As of today, I want to say the last iteration for Be More Beautiful, how many participants did we have within that program?
So there's a few grant programs that we have within Be More Beautiful. Our largest is Care-a-Lot, and I believe this year we have about 62 to 65 communities.
Can you, and that is actually the program that I'm thinking about. Can you give me the exact number of the can you give me the exact number of the communities that participated within Care-a-Lot? And also, can you have those broken down by district? And I do understand that a few districts may not have the amount of lots that are available that other districts do.
Would you, for this fiscal year, or what's your time frame?
Can you give it to me for fiscal year 25, please?
Absolutely. Okay. I'll make a note to do that.
Yeah, and I'm just going to restate it just so we have it, so my folks have it as a committee request. The exact number of Care-a-Lot participants, the locations, the communities that are that were awarded the grants for the lots, and also the location of the lots, and if you can just break it down by council district.
Okay.
And Director Ventries, how long do you think you need for that request?
The number of participants, I could tell you probably today, to be honest, including the locations, but the communities or the council districts that they're in, I would have to ask the liaisons to give me. So maybe a week, probably less, but I'm going to say a week to be safe.
Let me say 10 days.
Okay.
10 days from today.
That I can do.
And that was all that I needed. I'm going to move to Councilman Gray.
Thank you. I see here for Be More Beautiful, it looks like there was a slight decrease in funding for Be More Beautiful. Can you just go in? There was no explanation into why or what. Can you just give us a little more insight on why there was a reduction? Because I know folks in my district really take advantage of the Care Lives and Adopt a Lot programs.
I believe the reduction is from the temp line, temp salary. And we refurbished that into paying for the liaison one to make her position permanent. So the grants haven't gone down at all.
Perfect. And then another thing I just wanted to say was just thank you guys for all the help you give to every district, but in particular the 8th district. I know in my prior role, I know for a fact that I can state this on the record that I've picked up the most grabbers and gloves and vests in city history in a 4-year period. And so I really thank you guys for always being there to assist and having boxes upon boxes for me to pick up to give to my constituents to ensure that we keep our neighborhoods clean. So thank you for all your help and your partnerships and your continued partnership.
Thank you.
Do we have any additional questions for ECB? Okay, Vice President Middleton.
Thank you. My sentiments as well, thank you for everything that your office continues to do to help keep a clean and safe environment in our city. I guess my question is, are there any incentives or guidelines that you encourage as far as an eco-friendly environment in our city? Any, something that you can share that you might need help with or assistance with what you do?
Well, I will say that we've been putting together a lot of infographics and things like that to give out to the community. And that's actually through the liaison that we're bringing on, so that people know about recycling, that people know about composting, so people know about bioremediation of soil. We've been increasing our workshopping. We've been doing things like volunteerism and partnering with schools, be it like high schools and middle schools and having their students come out, or schools like Johns Hopkins. So I think a lot of that's being addressed through our liaison one position, because she's really the spearheading the workshopping and volunteering. And I think that's the best way to kind of get the word out of what needs to be done to keep Baltimore clean and green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for that answer. Just wanted the public to know that, you're doing good things, even though you give citations and trying to enforce people to do what they do, but you're also trying to educate. So
Yes.
Please keep that moving.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councilman Blanchard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I apologize if you touched on it, I came in a little late, but there's been a conversation around using the ECB for parking enforcement tickets. And the idea, as I understand it, is right now it has to go through a court. That's an onerous process and costs a lot of money, and the judges don't really want to spend a lot of time on it, and they lack flexibility for a couple reasons and everything. And my understanding is that this is something that is hopefully going to be proposed in next year's Maryland General Assembly session. And I was just curious as to your perspective on the possibility of ECB taking on this new role.
I mean, I'm excited at the prospect. We do also do water bill appeals. We do other things as well outside of the citations. So this is very much in our wheelhouse, and we have an established system, I'd say, in terms of notices and having the hearings scheduled and reminder calls and all that stuff. So we have, I'll say, the infrastructure, the functionality to do it, right? It is going to create an increase in volume, so that would impact us in terms of making sure we have enough hearing officers, if we need another scheduler, if we need more OSS staff to answer calls and man the front desk, that kind of thing. But that's pretty far out if it even kind of passes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is both from just like a general management of parking in the city, and like, plenty of my constituents would love better parking enforcement, plus between the lack of people paying, or the lack of tickets and the lack of people paying tickets, and the lack of compliance with parking meters because people aren't paying tickets. It's an 8-digit amount of money that the city is losing each year on top of providing a service. And so I would really encourage, you to, as you're looking, it would be an FY2027 thing, but please keep that in mind. And, hopefully the administration is looking seriously at that as something to advocate for in the next General Assembly session. So thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is, I'm not sure if this falls under your purview or not, but graffiti. It's, especially in my district, 25th Street, up around that Howard Street, it gets crazy. It's right, and even business owners try to stay on top of it. They try to paint it and get it redone, but as soon as they get painted, somebody kind of tags it up right all over again. When it comes to graffiti, I think, they get the citation, but they try to clean up as quickly as they can. But the people who are doing the graffiti, the people who's building it isn't the person who's doing the graffiti. So sometimes finding that individual or business owner necessarily isn't always the solution, because they don't like it as much as we do. Just trying to figure out, are there conversations within your office on what we can do to kind of tackle it, to get in front of it? Because I think the longer we allow it to happen, the worse it continues to become. And just as Brown, like enforcement, how do we actually stop the people who are doing the graffiti versus finding the victims who it's happening to?
Understood. So the difficult thing is that, the Environmental Control Board doesn't issue the citations. We just do the hearings. So that kind of citation would be issued by Department of Housing and Community Development, and they typically do a violation notice, and it does put the onus on the owner to clean the graffiti. Beyond that, I'm not sure there is a violation that falls under the ECB's jurisdiction about the person who's putting up the graffiti. I don't think that's in. Our code is Article 1, Section 40-14 has the list of violations, and I don't think that's in there. So even if a citation was issued for somebody putting graffiti on a wall, I don't think it would come to the ECB. It might be something where a civil citation could be issued, I really don't know, but it wouldn't, I don't think it would be ECB.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, I figured it was a long shot, but thank you for the work you all do. And if you happen to hear about solutions to get rid of graffiti, to make our environment cleaner and greener, I'll be all ears for it. So thank you. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We'll flag it so government relations can actually work this through with you. Councilman Torrance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to extend a heartfelt thank you for just being restorative in how you approach the citation abatement process. You guys have been, where government has been inflexible, you've looked at the actual individual cases and worked with people based off their circumstances. Often we have so many prescriptive rationales for what is the right outcome. You guys come up with custom outcomes, and I appreciate that flexibility, especially when persons get into very rigorous disputes with the city of Baltimore. I find that once we get them to your process, we have a meeting of the minds, and they actually come out a little bit happier than they were several months ago. But I just want to say I appreciate you guys for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director. Thanks for your great work. We are going to recess until 3 p.m. when we will return with Office of Equity and Civil Rights.
Thank you so much.